I'm Bruce Marshall, and this is a Marshall Minute Brampton Now update for the week ending the August 4-5 weekend 2020. This is a succinct, once-a-week hotshot of everything important that has happened in Brampton the previous week and what's coming up. Brampton's only professionally produced, only independent broadcast. Brampton, unbought and unbiased. Coming up, another scandalous bombshell lands on Brampton in the form of an Integrity Commissioner report on a member of Brampton City Council. And thank God there's some good news. We're opening up little by little based on the successes that we have achieved. The Mayor and Chief Medical Officer of Health for Peel on that. And coming up in the Marshall Rant, my take on my own dealings with Brampton's Integrity Commissioner. Details on that and more coming up in this Brampton Now update. The top stories this week in Brampton. A Brampton bombshell landed last Friday. Manisa Sheikh, Brampton's Integrity Commissioner, dropped a damning report on the allegations of sexual harassment, the only definition that was open to her under the integrity rules, against Brampton Regional Councillor 𝗕𝗿𝗺𝗺𝗺. The 8-month investigation resulted in a 268-page report from the Integrity Commissioner, which expressed the Commissioner's regret that she couldn't fire Dillon. Councillor Jeff Bowman spoke for many in Brampton at the Brampton City Council meeting on Wednesday.
I don't think anybody can read that transcript of the recording without sort of getting a pit in their stomach about that. And I don't think there's any question that something like that contravenes anything that we as councillors stand for.
Councillor Charmaine Williams read a piece at council where she asked Dillon to resign a total of 74 times. The number of times that Dillon's alleged victim said no on a near 3-minute recording that was made by the victim.
So Mr. Mayor and members of council, I have one word to say to Mr. Dillon: resign. I do not want to refer to Mr. Dillon as a councillor because I am so disheartened and disgusted by the actions outlined in the Integrity Commissioner report. I want Mr. Dillon to resign because I believe he no longer has the confidence of the residents of Brampton. Resign. I think that Mr. Dillon should resign because the taxpayers of Brampton put their faith in me and all of us to make hard decisions based on the facts as they are presented to us by our professional staff. Resign.
Council unanimously adopted the Integrity Commissioner's recommendations. Plus, in several different motions and amendments that asked Dillon to do the right thing, they asked him to resign. For his part, Dillon's only communication to this taping has been to deny all allegations once again after Wednesday's council meeting and to come out fighting legally. A judicial review is expected of the Integrity Commissioner's findings and the council's action against Dillon's alleged behavior. Interesting to note that much of what Dillon and his lawyer counter with are attacks on the system, the process, and the people in that system. Without any basis, Dillon has labeled these proceedings and the investigation as political. I may stand to be corrected, but I don't think I've heard him counter any of the allegations specifically. At the City of Brampton's weekly COVID press conference on Wednesday, Mayor Brown gave this update.
Testing allows us to isolate where the virus is and allows us to understand where these final remnants of the virus are in Peel region. And we're seeing the success of this, whether it is the declining numbers or the aggressive testing. Our healthcare capacity continues to get better every single week. Right now we only have 4 in hospital at Brampton Civic and only 2 in ICU. A few months ago we were really struggling with capacity issues, and now to see the numbers so low, it really is impressive, and thank you to all our healthcare workers who have handled that challenge.
As we open up a little bit more, the mayor had these announcements.
On Monday, August 10th, canoe and kayak rentals will now be available at Professor's Lake. Also beginning that week, we are reintroducing fitness in the park. We have Fitness in the park activities and programming, that's going to be back in Brampton once again because it's an outdoor environment that is very low risk. Indoor pools, fitness amenities, and limited drop-in programs will be open to the public after Labor Day.
However, Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Lawrence Lowe, had this to say about being cautious.
Your diligence is what has won the day so far and will continue to win the day as we keep this under control. Know that you can socialize and interact and have a little fun, but let's socialize smart. First, figure out and focus on your social circle. That is 10 people with whom you can have a full close contact interaction with. It's important to be sensible because we are still in the midst of a global pandemic. And even if we have done well in Canada, there are many places around the world to whom we are connected, which have not.
In a moment, a big development has been announced again for Heritage Heights in the northwest corner of Brampton, and sexual assault charges against a former Peel cop that date back to the days of the Brampton Police. Ahead on Brampton Now Update.
As restrictions start to lift and more public spaces reopen, it's important to continue to protect yourself and others from transmitting COVID-19. Keep 2 meters apart when outside and avoid crowds. Wear a non-medical mask when you're in places where it's difficult to physically distance yourself from others, such as in grocery stores or on public transit. If you need to go out and shop, use contactless payment whenever possible. Don't forget to keep washing your hands, and if you're feeling sick, stay home. Following these steps will help us overcome this outbreak and keep our communities healthy and safe.
This is the Brampton Now Update. I'm Bruce Marshall. Thursday, the Special Investigations Unit, the provincial organization that probes police wrongdoing, announced sexual assault charges against a former Peel cop that date back to his days on the Brampton City Police, prior to Peel Region. It's alleged that Frank Kohler committed the acts against a Brampton youth between 1967 and 1972. The complaint was made last year. Kohler will have a first hearing in October. Brampton Police became part of Peel Regional Police upon amalgamation of the region in 1974. The 20-year-old who is alleged to have caused the collision that took the life of Carolina Ciasulo and her 3 girls was in court this week, but the hearing was held over till August 13th. The suspect in their deaths recovered from life-threatening injuries to be taken into custody, and there he has remained. A lengthy bail hearing will occupy the session on the 13th. The long-awaited Heritage Heights neighborhood, which is a big chunk of the northwest corner of Brampton, in its latest incarnation, was greenlit by the Planning Committee last week. Population for that area alone is expected to be 124,000 people. An earlier plan calculated for half that density in the same area. The Dixie 407 Sport Park, which has cricket grounds and soccer pitches, has been renamed Emancipation Park. The move was on a motion by City Councillor Charmaine Williams in honor of Emancipation, which occurred in the British colonies on August 1st, 1834. The City of Brampton also recognizes Emancipation Day on August 1st each year, and every August is Emancipation Month in Brampton. Of course, the abolition of slavery next to the U.S. made Canada a destination for escaped slaves from the U.S. for the next 30 years until the U.S. emancipation. Brampton MP Sonia Sidhu hosted an announcement at Peel Manor on Friday afternoon, where the feds announced a $276 million financial commitment from the federal government for the creation of new affordable housing in Peel. The money will allow the region of Peel to create over 2,000 affordable rental units and shelter beds over the next 8 years. Coming up, a well-known Brampton contributor leaves us too soon. And International Indigenous Peoples Day is Sunday. And coming up in the Marshall Rant, my take on Brampton's Integrity Commissioner, 𝗕𝗿𝗄𝗎 𝗫𝗍. Ahead on Brampton Now Update.
This is your invitation to hear our stories, to engage in our traditions, and connect with our history. Connections as varied as the land. Come experience our country's heritage. Find and book your authentic Indigenous experience at indigenouscanada.travel.
I'm Bruce Marshall. This is the Brampton Now Update. Many keenly felt the passing of well-known Brampton dentist and philanthropist Dr. Sherilyn 𝗕𝗿𝗺𝗃𝗃 suddenly last week. Dr. 𝗕𝗿𝗃𝗃 was well known in the Jamaican Canadian community for good works. She will be missed. The 𝗕𝗿𝗃𝗃 dental practice, which she founded, will be continued by her family. Brampton garden guru, Councillor Doug Willans, carted off another load of produce to the Regeneration Food Bank this week. The Backyard Garden program, which Willans heads up, was oversubscribed by the thousands. Those who participate pledge half their garden yield to Brampton food programs. Coming up, some of the events happening in Brampton, from International Indigenous Peoples Day, happening all over the world on Sunday, to the opening soon of a new downtown Brampton thrift shop, and my take on Brampton's Integrity Commissioner. Coming up on the Marshall Rant, ahead on Brampton Now Update. You're watching Brampton Now Update. I'm Bruce Marshall. This weekend and ahead in Brampton, Brampton Farmers Market is Saturday. Details on the market and protocols are at brampton.ca. Sunday marks the International Day of the World's Indigenous Peoples. There are over 476 million Indigenous peoples living across 90 countries around the world. Sunday, they celebrate their unique cultures, traditions, and knowledge, and the need for that to be protected, promoted, celebrated, and respected. Hashtag Indigenous Peoples Day. On Tuesday at 7 p.m., Community Climate Council presents a one-hour webinar, Active Transportation for Healthy People and Planet, with well-known Brampton active transportation advocate David Lang of Bike Brampton. The event is on Eventbrite, and you need to register. The Journey Neighborhood Center, with 2 Brampton program locations, is opening a thrift store in downtown Brampton at the beginning of September. The store will be located across Nelson Street from the YMCA. The Journey Thrift Shop provides household items and clothes at affordable prices in much the same way that Regen Thrift, a sister organization, provides that with their thrift store, which is already open in another area of town. Brampton Music Theatre has a fundraising contest called Catch the Ace. It's at bmtcatchtheace.ca. BMT also continues online training programs on their website at bramptonmusictheatre.com. Coming up, a Marshall Rant. Brampton's Integrity Commissioner's ruling last week has meant a storm of criticism against the Commissioner. Is that warranted? That's next. I'm Bruce Marshall, and this is the Marshall Rant. Brampton is a laughing stock again. Again, Scandal not only hits Brampton, it hits like a giant meteorite from out of space. We all know what happened. Fortunately, there was compelling evidence collected. And if, because of the practicality of international law, Canadian law doesn't apply in Turkey, we know that 𝗕𝗄𝗃, Integrity Commissioner of Brampton, acquitted her duties in this case objectively and thoroughly. There were a lot of weird things about this case where it was made all the more important that Madam Integrity Commissioner used all of the authority available to her to not only render a proper, fair recommendation, but also a decision that left no doubt as to conclusions. As I noted earlier, the response of the accused councillor to events has been to slag the process, the system, and the people in that system, including Brampton Integrity Commissioner 𝗕𝗄𝗃. There are a few others who have taken a run at the Integrity Commissioner too. However, I'm in something of a well-informed position on Ms. Sheikh because I have had some dealings with her. Brampton political junkies will know that I made the first integrity complaint against this council last year. Thus, I've had a fair bit to do with this Integrity Commissioner. Let me be clear. She did not accept all the points I made. Due to rational reasons like jurisdiction, she rejected some of my assertions in my complaint. There was one key decision with respect to improper lobbying by a group seeking city money, which she confirmed, however. I could have my nose out of joint because things didn't go entirely my way. I argued my points. Madam Integrity Commissioner responded with answers within the framework of the limited scope and jurisdiction of her office. In my own complaint, I'm confident that matters received a complete, fair, and impartial adjudication by Madam Integrity Commissioner according to the applicable rules. Indeed, I think it's time right now to state categorically that I believe I received a fair hearing before Madam Integrity Commissioner 𝗕𝗄𝗃. I believe that she was thorough and thoughtful in her collection of evidence and measured in her conclusions drawn by the examination of the same. And I believe likewise in this case. This was a tough case. The Integrity Commissioner brought down a fair and measured response in the case recommendations. This is a case that screams out for leadership, and leadership would be to limit the damage to Brampton as much as possible. As it stands now, both the city and the man at the center of this are the laughing stock of the country. Leadership would put an end to this. We won't see either leadership nor an end to this soon, I'm afraid. But in the meantime, if you hear anyone raking Brampton's Integrity Commissioner 𝗕𝗄𝗃 through the coals, I've had some dealings with her too, and found her to be top-notch and above board, just as her honored profession also demands that she be too, by the way. I'm Bruce Marshall, and that's it for this week. Please subscribe to the Brampton Now Update channel on YouTube or follow #MarshallMinute on Facebook for lots of Brampton Need to Know that you won't find anywhere else. Your comments and suggestions are always welcome, and if you've got a Brampton story to tell, get in touch with me through this channel you're watching on right now. Stay strong, Brampton. Brampton strong. We're all in this together. I'm Bruce Marshall. Thanks for watching Brampton Now Update.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broad.